fantastic STEM Foundation Year team. Before Harmony dives in, we've got a couple of students with us, so I'm just going to get you guys to stand up and introduce yourselves, please. And I'm going to sit down and then you can go.
So my name is Joshua and I did foundation year last year. All I can say about foundation year is a stunning thing, very good workplace and environment. The teaching staff there are amazing. They will constantly help anyone who will ask for their help. The one thing I have to say though, is if no one asks, they won't do the work, but they will still try and help you no matter what. If you're quiet, they'll be like, do you want help? If you're loud, they'll be like, do you want help? It's always a welcome environment there and I'm glad to be a part of it.
And so my name's Kai, just as Josh. I also done the foundation year last year. I thought the foundation year was a great opportunity for a second chance for people who maybe didn't get the grades last year in sixth form due to whatever reason. Or maybe you didn't even study physics in our case, or another degree that you wanted to do in university. So it's a great opportunity just to do something that you want to do. But just as Josh said, it was such a surprise to me when I came into university to notice just the level of teaching in the foundation year and the level of support that you guys gave us, because it was nothing like I ever imagined. And from all the stories of people telling you the amount of independent work that you get given and the fact that you feel like you get left alone all the time. And for us, that was definitely not the case. Just as Josh said, the amount of positive nagging that was going on was very high. So for me personally, it was just such a great experience. And the fact that we still go back to them now, I feel shows just the amount of kind of hard work and dedication that you guys put in just to making our lives so much easier and better. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't know what these two were going to say. Basically, I sent out an email asking volunteers from all of our former students if anyone wanted to join in with this session today. And I said, "Well, can you have a think about what you might want to say to the delegates?" And I left them to it. So thank you for your very kind words. Do you want to sit down while I go through the next bit of the presentation? So I'm going to tell you about our foundation year because I recognise that not everybody knows about foundation years in general. So I'll start with that and then tell you how we run things, and hopefully that will give you an idea, or it'll make you aware that these things exist around the country. We're not the only place that offers a foundation year, and you'll have a bit more information about ours in particular. So make a start. So my name's Harmony, as Daisy said. My email address is on the screen, and I'm the Deputy Director of the STEM Foundation Year here at the University of Leicester. So what is a foundation year, for those of you who aren't already aware? It's a year of university study, but it's before you start year one. So we actually call our foundation year year zero. And it gives a route into university for students who may not otherwise have had that opportunity to undertake university study. So some examples are on the screen there. So students who just don't have the entry requirements needed for year one. So that might be in terms of their grades. They might have the right subjects and qualifications, but not the grades that they need to go straight into year one study. It might be that they don't have the subjects that they need to go into year one study. So these two are two of our former STEM Foundation Year students who are now in year one physics. To study in a physics undergraduate degree, you need to have A-level physics and A-level maths. If you don't have both of those, you can't go straight into year one. You could come on to our foundation year though. So that's what I mean by not necessarily having the subjects necessary to go straight into year one. And then we do have students who may not have the qualifications even, so that we might have international students who don't quite have the qualifications necessary to get onto year one. So that's students without the entry requirements, but we also have mature students. For us in particular, we tend to only get a handful of those every year. So students who have been out of education for either a short time or maybe even decades of being out of education. They can come to us on the foundation year and have this year of study to get them ready for year one. And then any student who just feels that they need that extra time before making the transition into what you might call full university. I mean, as far as we're concerned, anyone on our foundation year is an undergraduate student at the University of Leicester. All the facilities we have at the university are available to these students, but they might feel they want a more gentle start than they would otherwise get if they were going straight into year one. So those are examples of the kinds of categories of students that might apply to us for our foundation year. But there are benefits of doing a foundation year, even if you don't fit into one of those categories. I mean, thinking back about what you gain from doing a foundation year, it is really a year to get comfortable with so many different things that university offers that you might not have been ready for prior to that. So the way we teach at university, for example, lectures rather than classroom teaching in many cases. Yes, the academic content needed for the degree, that is part of it as well, but also a whole year of being able to develop those study skills, the independent side of things, just getting a little bit of a transition period of more independent study. And specifically, you've got a campus. If you do a foundation year, when you start year one, you're already used to that campus, you're used to the city, timetables, where to go and get your lunch, all of those kinds of things, and the people as well. So you're already familiar with some of the lecturers, and you're already hopefully have a group of friends who you'll be starting year one with. So lots of positives of doing a foundation year. So the foundation year here at the University of Leicester, we have, so it's an integrated degree, which means it is one degree. It's a 4-year degree rather than a 3-year degree, with this year 0 attached to the beginning. So for our students, as long as they pass the foundation year, their entry into year one is guaranteed. There's no expectation that they apply through UCAS again. It's one degree. They progress year on year as they would with any other degree. Student finance is available for the foundation year, so no concerns around that either, just like any other degree. And as I already mentioned, our students do have access to the entire university facilities, just like any other undergraduate student. I know a lot of the time they might be considered as though they are separate in some way from any other undergraduate, just because the foundation year heading might make them think that. But it's really not the case. They are just like any other undergraduate student. So specifically, again, at the University of Leicester, we have a STEM foundation year. Other foundation years exist. So if you were to do some investigating, you'd find across the country foundation years in all subjects, probably. At Leicester, we do have a medicine foundation year as well, and we have a biological sciences foundation year. They're quite connected to each other. I'm talking today specifically about the STEM foundation year, which offers a pathway to the degrees that you can see on the screen there. So anybody who wants to study chemistry, for example, but not go straight into year one, they can apply for chemistry with foundation year. They'd come to us first. Similarly with all the rest of those subjects there. So we take these students who are planning to then go to chemistry or geology or geography, computing, whatever subject it is that they're planning to study, and we split them into what we call streams. So we have all of these students wanting to study all of these different things. So a particular student might have applied for physics with foundation year or maths with foundation year, and we group these students into streams. If you're on a particular stream, you are doing the same modules as each other. So you can hopefully see, I know the text is a little small, but you can hopefully see that it makes sense that anyone wanting to study geography or geology or environmental science in year 1 onwards, that with us in the foundation year, they study the same modules as each other before they go into year 1 and then break out into those separate degrees, and so on for these other streams and subjects. Yes. They are being specific at the UCAS stage. There is some scope for manoeuvrability across subjects or streams, but at the point of application, they make the decision there. Within a stream, there is definite movement, so you can very easily sign up to do geography with foundation year, but at the end of the year, do geology instead. So that movement is quite straightforward. Other movement is possible across streams as well, though, but it's restricted. So, for example, it's easy to switch between engineering and physics, but not easy to switch from computer science to engineering, just thinking about the kinds of modules that they would have studied during the foundation year. Yes?
Is the foundation year degree on the foundation year to another university? Is it transferable?
So there's no standard across the UK for foundation years. Every university is delivering their own foundation year. We do often have students who decide at the end of the year to reapply to maybe an original university that they always wanted to go to. Perhaps it's closer to home or their dream or for whatever reason. And yes, it is possible to do that, and there is recognition that they have studied a foundation year. So what we normally find is that those universities have a minimum expectation of marks that these students would have achieved on the foundation year here, and as long as they achieve those marks, they can then move to year 1 at this other university, and vice versa will be true. The Leicester University would accept foundation years from other universities. I think probably what's the case with us is probably true of other universities. Our foundation year is very much catering for students going into year 1 here. So we will tend to focus more on our own particular year 1 modules when we're preparing our foundation year modules, but there are lots of similarities across the UK anyway. For example, our physics degree is accredited here, and there are expectations of the modules that you will deliver if you are delivering a physics degree at an accredited institution. So if we're preparing students for year 1 physics here, actually we're preparing students for year 1 physics anywhere, and I think that is recognised. But like I said, there's no nationwide standard. Is there anything else before I move on? Yeah. So our most popular pathway, most popular stream is the computing stream at the moment. We do have limitations, but it's like any other subject really. It's a combination of staffing, rooming, and that sort of thing. So, and we do have to be quite dynamic. It depends on who applies, which particular program, which particular degree is popular 1 year compared to another year. And I'll show you a bit later what our breakdown is for our current cohort. Current cohort, 23-24 cohort. So you can see what kinds of numbers we're getting for each of these at the moment. Okay. So while I said that students will apply at the point of application, they will make that decision that they want to do in maths with foundation year or computing with foundation year. Once they go to their what we call schools at the University of Leicester, I know that we could use the word department instead, but once they go to their school, at that point, they can decide, actually, I want to do a year in industry, or I want to do a year abroad, or I want to do an integrated master's. And all of that is open to them. They become, again, always have been, like any other undergraduate student, they can switch between these flavors, as we call them. So there's no barrier there for a foundation year student. They can do a year in industry just like any other student can, as long as their school offers it. So whatever their school offers, these students can switch to those degrees. So as I said, breakdown for our current cohort this year. So the orange is our computing students. So close to half of our cohort at the moment is students who are going to go on to study computing in year one. Our next most popular is engineering. So just over a quarter of our students are engineering. Physics, almost a quarter there. And then we have fewer numbers in our chemistry, that's the red. The blue is our geosciences, so that's geography, geology, environmental science, and the purple is maths. We do find that this changes every year. A few years ago, it was engineering that was the most common, but the computing stream has really increased in numbers, and we are expecting similar next year. Probably we will have about 50% of our cohort being computing students. So I mentioned different streams doing different modules. So we try and tailor things as best we can for the students. So these are the modules that we'll be offering next year. Any one student will do 7 or 8 modules, and they will do the modules that are appropriate for the degree that they are going into to study in year one. So hopefully you can see on the screen which ones are probably for the computing students, which ones are probably for the engineering students, chemistry students, etc. So we offer something for everyone, which is specifically for their particular degree, and some modules which every student will do. So for example, Maths 1, it's STEM, everybody will do the Mathematics 1 module. So for us, entry requirements, these are what we advertise on our web pages. And if any of you are familiar with the year one entry requirements, what you would see is the entry requirements for the foundation year are either a grade or 2 below what's expected for year one direct entry, or, for example, I mentioned the physics earlier. So rather than requiring physics and maths, we would require physics or maths for entry onto the foundation year. Every student's unique though. Every student's got their unique experience, and we wouldn't say that this is definitive, that this is what must be met for any student to gain entry on our foundation year. It is always worth asking the question and putting forwards in a UCAS application their reasons for applying, and we consider all of those. So if any of your students were to be put off, maybe thinking BCC is quite high for them, you know, I have said that this is a route for students who haven't necessarily got the grades required for year one. BCC is not set if the student has reasons for having lower grades than that. We would consider all applications. Yes, I know that isn't shown on here, is it, at all? But yeah, we are aware of T-levels coming in, and I expect actually our website must be updated with that, and I just haven't included it on this slide. My apologies for that. I should have done that. That's an oversight of mine. Okay, so I've got just a few pictures of some of our staff. So basically what I'm trying to show here is that we've got a variety of people on the team. Some are staff specifically from particular schools. So some geography staff teaching on the foundation year, some physics staff teaching on the foundation year, for example. We've got some chemistry staff up there as well. We've got a mixture of levels of staff as well. So some professors teaching on our foundation year, lecturers, associate professors. So a mixture of people who teach on our foundation year. It's not a, like I said, it's undergraduate students, just like any other, being taught by a variety of people from across the university. So the way we teach, we try and make as many of our sessions as interactive as they can be. So I know that lectures, traditional lectures, aren't particularly interactive, and ours aren't always able to be interactive either, but our staff are aware of the backgrounds of our students. They've come from school, they're used to it, and college, they're used to a particular type of learning. This is supposed to be a transition year, so we give them, as much as we can, a bit of a mixture of traditional lectures, if you like, the ones which are very speak from the front, and some where they've got opportunities to actually do a little something for themselves in the lectures. So even our lectures, when we can, we try and make them interactive, but definitely the rest of these sessions that we deliver are interactive sessions. The students are actively doing something in those sessions. So it's not all lectures. I don't know whether your students necessarily imagine that that's what's going to happen when they go to university, but there is interaction taking place in our taught sessions. And what we do in our foundation year, at least, is we do reward effort as well as attainment. So we offer what we call engagement marks. So our students come with a variety of qualifications, different subjects, different levels. We don't necessarily mandate in this workshop, you must achieve this to be able to be awarded any marks. We say in this workshop, you must attend, you must engage with the work, do your best, we'll award you some marks for that. So some nominal marks awarded just for engagement. So those are what we call our engagement marks. And then we have other kinds of assessments as well. So again, I don't know what your students imagine what will happen when they go to university, but it's not all exams. It's not all everything being done on their own. There is a mixture of types of assessments that we offer for our students. So this image is an example of what a workshop might look like. So students working together on solving problems, staff are in the room helping them with that problem solving. So as these two mentioned, we do our best to look after our students. So academically, we have a very structured timetable. So what I mean by that is a regularly repeating pattern across the year of the timetable that these students will be taking. So that can be quite different from year one onwards. Sometimes you find things a little bit more all over the place. So you might have a lecture at 9 a.m. on one day, but the next week you've got that same lecture at another time, for example. So we try as much as possible to get some consistency there week on week, so that the students sort of know what's coming without having to look it up. And it also means that the students have got time to do things like part-time jobs, for example. So structured timetable, we're very clear with our deadlines as well. With all of our engagement marks, so it means we have a lot of assessments. So students, every week, all of our students will have some engagement marks, which will count towards their final module mark. So that all adds up. A student will have hundreds of assessments, but many of those are engagement mark assessments. We want them to turn up, but all of that is very clearly laid out for them before the start of the year. So we look after them in that sense. We're clear with our communication. We're straightforward with our communication to the students. We provide them with regular updates on their progress so they can see how they're doing, see if they are on track to meet the requirements of passing the modules. We have an open door policy, so these two have taken advantage of that. Basically, turn up, knock on the door. If we're available, we'll help them out. So that is a policy across many of our schools here at the University of Leicester. We use study techniques that we've researched. So we are researchers as well as lecturers. And we also have our central academic services and support. So if a student does need more than we are able to offer, more time, then we have central services where they can go and get help with, for example, organising themselves, planning for exams, that kind of thing. And on the personal side of things, there's lots of contact time with our students. It's not a case of independent study, like these two said, you're left on your own. We see our students every day, multiple times a day. Each student has a personal tutor who they can go to directly. We try to not start teaching until 11 a.m. Most of our students are teenagers. We think that works well for them. So that's what we always try and get from our central timetabling team. We've got a peer mentoring program, we have social events that we do, and then, like I mentioned, central services. So the University of Leicester has got, like many universities, has got a welfare team, a students' union, sports, all of those sorts of offerings that universities can make. I don't know if you might have seen this already, but we have been rated gold at the University of Leicester. So the Teaching Excellence Framework, it's an independent assessment of a university, and our most recent one has put us in the gold category. It's bronze, silver and gold. We are gold, so we are celebrating that at the moment. So specifically our foundation year, we consider ourselves to be successful. We do survey our students. We ask them what they think about the programme. We listen to their feedback. Overall course satisfaction, over 90% of our students consistently year on year are satisfied with our course. Our continuation rate, so that's where we're talking about the percentage of our students from the foundation year who do actually then go into year one. So again, that's over 90%. When we speak to those staff in the schools, the departments where our students have gone to, they do feedback positively about our students. They say they're very easy to pick out, they have a maturity to them. And I guess that comes partly from having had that year of study already at the university and the familiarity with the university. And our students nominate us, but we have a Students' Union Superstar Awards here, so our students do nominate us for those awards. So they think we're doing well, and I think their feedback indicates that we're doing well. And I think we do have a very caring, dedicated, teaching-focused staff on our foundation year. So at this university, at least, I'm not entirely sure about all others, but we have staff who are research focused and they'll do a little bit of teaching. We have staff who are 50-50, basically research and teaching. And we have staff who, like most of us on the foundation year, are teaching focused. Most of our time is spent teaching with some research time as well. So just putting my details up here again, because I am very happy to answer any questions you might have that come to mind after today. So do get in touch if you want to, if there's anything that I haven't covered. I wasn't really sure what you might want me to cover, so I've just put some things into here, and I'm happy to take any questions if there is some time. So I hope that's okay with the team here, if there are any more questions at all. And these two are here as well to take your questions if you want to hear it directly from students. Yes.
Quite a lot of our students are very interested in branches, medicine, health, etc. Sometimes that can all quite race students and obviously people quite see this transition, but is there any financial tension?
So like I mentioned, we do at the University of Leicester have a medicine foundation here, but you will know more about.
Yeah, medicine, physiotherapy, testing you now. That we do offer a lot of foundation years, not just healthcare, but we do in the social sciences as well. So business as well. Yeah, not your area, but yeah, we do offer it across the board really. So there is a one for nursing and midwifery. They're the leadership courses. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, but yeah, the website will list all of the different ones. But yeah, we definitely offer it physio and medicine.
What happens if somebody achieves higher than BTC? That was great, but doesn't get high enough to get onto the, the year one.
So higher than BCC being the entry requirement for the foundation year, but not higher than year one. So at the time of application, a student might be thinking, which one should I apply for? Should I apply for year one directly, or should I apply for the with foundation year? At the time that the UCAS results are released, actually before that, we are one of the universities that are allowed to see the UCAS results before they are released to students. We have that period of time where we make assessments about which is the most appropriate year for a student based on their actual achieved grades. So it doesn't matter which one they apply for, they will be put into the one, or they will be, sorry, I won't say that transition will be made without their approval. They will be offered a place on either the year one or the foundation year, depending on their actual grades. And that offer will be visible to them once their actual grades are visible to them.
But they definitely get one or the other, they wouldn't be left with.
That's right. So somebody in between is definitely not going to be rejected outright. They would be offered one or the other.
Do you only have many places in clearing? Is that?
Yes, we tend to open in clearing, and then we will stay open until we feel we are too full now and we have to close. So yes, we get many students who, what we call direct entry, so students applying directly for the reasons that I've mentioned, maybe mature students who maybe have predicted grades where they think they don't want to try and get year one somewhere else. They want to be more sure about getting a place, so they'll apply to the foundation year here, or maybe year one here, take a punt, see if they can get into year one directly if that's what they want. But then clearing as well, definitely we have. So what we do is prior to that UCAS, prior to results day in August, we will make those decisions about whether we're having to offer the foundation year to some students who actually did apply directly to year one, and the other way around. So what I was sort of saying in answer to your question, and then we'll know at the same time we'll have clearing opening, and we're just waiting for all of these students to let us know whether they want to accept those offers. And we've got the extra one bringing clearing. You had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask the students what they did before the foundation year, subject wise and.
So I was in sixth form and I did chemistry, physics and maths.
A-level.
Yeah, A-levels, yeah.
I did physics, maths and computer science.
And can I ask then, guys, if you're happy to share, what made you decide to do your foundation year? Kind of what were the circumstances around you ended up taking that route through?
So personally for me, I didn't get the entry requirements for the actual main degree. And then I was offered a foundation year at Leicester. And personally for me, it's quite close to home. So that was the first marker there, which I was just like, oh, close to home, foundation year. It's another chance for me to kind of prove to myself and prove to others as well that I can do it. So I took it mainly for those circumstances, but it was also just everything seemed to fit well with just doing a foundation year. So that's why I only took it.
I did it on the reasons of, yes, I didn't get grades, but then I also wanted to go foundation anyway,
because when I went to the open days for the first year visits, some of the knowledge I was a bit, in a way, scared of just going in straight away. So I wanted to just do the transition year, no matter what my grades were anyway. I just wanted to have a relaxing time, learn university, and then get into the degree.
Yeah.
You said to go on to like that first year of the graduate degree, they have to successfully complete the first year. Is it just a pass or fail?
Yeah, so if I use the language that we use, year 0 with us, it's pass fail.
Yeah.
And their marks, though the marks are recorded and they will appear on their final transcripts at the end of their university years, those marks will not count towards their final degree classification. And it's pass fail only, as long as they pass, they put it to the foundation year. We do have a bit of a nuance between what counts as passing and what counts as progressing. So for example, these two being physics students, there was an expectation that they do more than just pass their modules, which is the normal requirement to pass the foundation year. They also had to achieve a pass level in their exams for some of their modules.
Yeah.
So maths is what I'm talking about. They would have had to achieve that pass mark in the maths exam, regardless of whether the module could have been passed.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, pass fail is the short answer. And yes.
Harvey, I'm not sure you've already covered this or not. So the student wanted to put in their UCAS form for the general degree, like geography, but then they also wanted to put on for the foundation. Would they have to put it on twice, like one of their choices is geography, and then one of their choices is the foundation year? Or would it automatically be that if they didn't have enough geography, the normal geography degree, they would then be off the foundation? Do they put two choices on, or do they just put one and then it gets dropped down to the foundation?
So it's the latter. They should put one. It would be a waste of a choice.
Yeah.
I feel to put both.
Yeah.
Making the decision of which one to put, like I said to you, when it comes to the results day, looking at results only, we can make those offers. We can say, actually, we can offer you a year. Actually, we can only offer you the foundation year, depending on the result. There might be, it depends on the reasons that the student wants to do one or the other. If it's entirely based on grades, apply for year 1. Apply for year 1. If the grades don't work out, then foundation year will be offered. If they would rather do a foundation year, like you're describing, Josh, then choose foundation year. But they definitely don't need to use 2 spaces on the UCAS application form.
Another question. So for you guys, obviously now you're in year 1 of physics. How have you found that transition moving from the foundation year into your year 1 degree?
Transition was very seamless, like it just going from foundation to year 1 felt like no effort at all, because of how easy they made it for us to just follow the steps through. But then just making it so easy for us to not worry about anything in the future. But like, make sure you do this and you'll be fine.
Yeah, for me, a lot of the stuff which I learned from foundation year was your normal skills involving university. So things like financial skills, things like social skills. So whilst the foundation year, obviously it's a year at university, you've got to study academia, obviously. However, the skills that you learn from managing your own money, social skills, it's really beneficial. Because a lot of the stresses which comes from university is managing your money. Especially with me, I was stressed by so much to try and think about how the hell I'm going to manage my money, how I'm going to make friends and talk to the kind of like you guys and the actual people who are teaching us. But to learn that all throughout the foundation year, and then to again have that really seamless transition of just you passed, you don't need to do anything on your UCAS or anything like that. Because I was so happy with that when that first got announced that we don't need to do anything to our UCAS. It was really, really good because it wasn't literally just a matter of just getting our results, seeing a pass or fail, and then that's it. And then we don't need to worry about anything else other than just being happy that we passed or, you know, thinking about other steps if we did.
So you didn't have to go through the UCAS battle again, then it just.
No, not at all. And honestly, it was so good that we could just move straight on because, like, especially for us, I do feel like if that wasn't the case, then it would be quite confusing. And if we don't have anyone else around us or didn't have anyone that we can immediately speak to, then it would be even more confusing and difficult. So that was definitely a great thing that we could do with that.
Yeah, the only students who go through UCAS are the ones who want to move elsewhere. So they want to do year one somewhere else. And then we would write their UCAS reference for them. They might prefer to get in touch with their school or college. But we think it would be better for us to write their UCAS reference, and that's what we do for those students who would prefer to go somewhere else for year one. Yeah.
And what happens if they do fail? Is there a chance to redo it? Or?
Right. So I mentioned that any one student will do 7 or 8 modules during the course of the year. There are semester 1 modules. Semester 1 is almost essentially term 1, and semester 2 modules, and there are year 1 modules. At the university here, we have modules ending sort of January time. We have modules ending in May, June time, and it's at that point that we know whether a student has passed or failed the year. If they haven't passed every module, there is an opportunity to resit. So resets happen in the summer, so not a great time, but that's the way the sort of calendar works for the university. We try and encourage students to pass first time because they don't really study their summer working on the reset. But definitely resets are available for components within modules. So some things are not resettable. So for example, your lab module that you did with us, that cannot be reset. We have 10 lab sessions that take place over the course of the year. It's not possible to reset that if a student was to fail. So resets are possible, yes. Also under exceptional circumstances, depending on a particular student and their circumstances, there might be a situation where a student is able to complete a semester or the whole year, in fact, again, rather than be entirely terminated from the university. So it is possible, and if a student is what we call terminated, it sounds like quite a harsh word, isn't it? If we do terminate a student, we do have an appeals process. I think all universities have those procedures, and sometimes we do find that students only come forwards with their sort of personal circumstances at that end point, unfortunately, rather than letting us know sooner that they have factors preventing them from passing and passing around. So yes, it's not all lost if they don't pass well.
We don't have any more questions, then we'll finish. We've got 5 minutes. If anyone does want to come and chat to any of the people, please do feel free. At the end, we've got about 5 minutes until the next session starts, I think, of course.
The break.
Oh, there's a break as well.
Yeah. The next session will start at 3:40.
Great, thank you so much.